Thank you for joining us for this episode of Talking Health in the 406, where we're one community under the big sky. I'm your host, Jennifer Vansickle, longtime healthcare worker turned health educator, and I hope you enjoy our 1-year anniversary episode. It's now been 1 year since we've been promoting our podcast. So to celebrate, we're going to do something a little differently for this episode. We're going to bring you a highlight from each guest. So whether you've listened to just a single episode or every single one, we hope this variety will bring you inspiration to go back and listen again, catch the ones you missed, and maybe share with your friends. We hope you enjoy. For our first through third episodes, we hosted guest Melissa House, Program Manager for the Montana Diabetes Program. In her episode, she shared her journey of being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes as a child in Butte.
Just because I have diabetes doesn't mean I can't do things.
And then living life as a teenager and college student with diabetes.
You know, I didn't think I realized, or when you get that diagnosis, you don't think about the future and what could potentially happen.
Right.
Finally, Melissa shared her story of being a double organ transplant recipient and that amazing journey.
It was almost trading one thing for another. Because now that I don't have to worry about the diabetes, there's so many other things that I have to think about in, my daily life. I'm on medications for the rest of my life. So, getting in that regimen.
In episodes 4 through 6, our guest was Jacob Krisovich. In his youth, Jacob had normal vision, but by his 30s, he was completely blind. In his first episode, he shares with us what it was like to slowly lose his vision.
Took the approach of, I don't know when this is going to end, and I'm going to live my life.
In his second episode, he shares the hardships and the mental struggles of losing vision.
Sometimes you need help, and I needed help, and I went and saw a counselor, and I'm honestly stronger mentally than I ever was.
And in the third episode, probably one of the favorites, he talks about his guide dog, Fife.
Their criteria is they want to know that you walk on average at least a half mile a day. Because they don't want to just give out a dog that's not going to be used.
Yeah.
It's not the idea is not to give you a pet. It's to give you, an amazing companion. Don't get me wrong. Fife is amazing as a companion, but also, first and foremost, a mobility tool.
And to not only survive, but thrive in a life without vision.
With time and acceptance and training and working through things, and it's going to be hard. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess things up. If you're blind or have mobility issues, you might burn yourself on the stove, but you learn.
Episodes 7 through 9, we featured our guest Francine Janik from the Jefferson Valley Emergency Medical Services in Whitehall. In the first episode, Francine shared with us the origins of EMS in Montana.
So EMS started with just neighbors taking care of neighbors.
She then shared just how far we've come.
And in the early 70s, we were just a ride to the hospital. Now we're an actual moving emergency room.
And finally, she shared how much EMS work and volunteering can truly help.
2 of them were nurses and said it was the most beneficial training they got in their whole career was to do EMS work because it taught them how to interact with patients and how to make high-stress decisions.
Our next guest for episodes 10 and 11 was Kelly Little. Kelly shared her experience with us of having a spontaneous coronary artery dissection, which can be a very serious cardiac event. In her first episode, Kelly talks about her chest pain and the struggle to diagnose and find out exactly what's going on.
And she said, so I need to wheel you down to the cath lab. So I'm kind of just, this was the escalation of all these, we don't know. And so I'm kind of like, well, what, is it serious? Do I need to have it done now?
In the second episode, Kelly talks about her diagnosis and learning to live as a survivor of SCAD, or spontaneous coronary artery dissection.
This isn't a joke. This wasn't a dream that you didn't wake up from. This is your life.
Our next guest was Cheryl Tillemans for episode 12. She shared how she found herself in declining health, much like we all do, and how the National Diabetes Prevention Program and a healthy lifestyle brought her back to a great, healthy outlook on life and good health.
It's hard at first, but it becomes habitual. It becomes a norm. You have to go into it with the intent that you need to do it.
Episodes 13 and 14 wrapped up our year at Talking Health in the 406. For these episodes, we were joined by guest Rachel Anderson. In episode 13, Rachel shared her story of having a daughter who was diagnosed with exercise-induced asthma and subsequently struggled to maintain control of that disease.
Yeah, so Mia was in 6th grade. She was playing basketball, and she started having some breathing issues during games where she would get very out of breath and have trouble recovering and coming out of that.
And in episode 14, Rachel shared the heartbreaking story of losing her daughter to an asthma attack.
At this point, we were still very hopeful. She was gonna come out of it.
Her organ donation.
So she saved 3 lives, and she was able to donate both kidneys and her liver.
And now Rachel's subsequent goals of increasing asthma awareness and advocacy in the state of Montana. The home visitors can help identify things that might make the asthma worse. They can help you get your medications sorted out. They're kind of just that extra helping hand to help with that asthma care.
I wonder, if Mia would have been part of that program, and maybe things would be different.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Talking Health in the 406, where we're one community under the big sky. All of these podcasts are found wherever you get your podcast feed and on our website. And for more information about any of these, please tune into our website at talkinghealthinthe406.mt.gov. And on behalf of both myself and our team behind the scenes that help make this podcast a reality, we want to thank you for tuning in this past year. It's been a great year with a lot of interesting content and guests. And I can tell you a little secret. We've got another great year ahead. So please keep tuning in and spread the word about Talking Health in the 406, where we're one community under the big sky. Until next time, take care.